We acquired a small bank in Rhode Island 2 years ago, rebranded it and renamed it as Admirals Bank. And in the last 2 years, we've doubled in size, no, tripled in size now, as of this past quarter. We've expanded our footprint from just Rhode Island now into Boston. We acquired another group of branches in southeastern Massachusetts that had been part of a Portuguese bank. But more importantly, right now we are focusing on developing and building out the Boston retail market. And we've introduced a very high-end form of retail banking, which we call bespoke banking. It's banking tailored to your financial needs. And that's something that we're excited about. For example, we have internet banking, of course. We are going to have, as of next week, our own iPod and iPhone app. In addition to the high-tech sort of banking that a lot of banks are offering, we're offering this high-touch banking. And the high-touch banking means that you will have your banker's personal cell phone number, personal email account. If you are traveling across the world and you need to reach your banker for some reason 24/7, they will be on call, they will answer your call. If you are in your lawyer's office and you're trying to set up a new account and it's complicated because there's various trust aspects and so forth, our bankers have a small fleet of Mercedes C-Class. They just drive to the lawyer's office. They'll drive to your home. They'll go wherever you are to take care of your banking needs whenever you need them. If you're traveling and you want to use an ATM and you're in another state or another country or in your own town, rather than paying the $3 fee or the $2 fee or the €3 fee, we'll pay that for you. So we cover all of the expenses, no fees, no expenses attached.
Exceptional service.
Exceptional service for special customers. It's the first foray into this private banking arena for Admirals Bank.
Please tell us a few words about your Greek heritage.
My grandparents on both sides are Greek, and my mother's family immigrated to the United States from Asia Minor, from a small village called Alatsata near Smyrni. My father's family came from the Peloponnese near Megalopolia, a village called Potamia. And we still have a number of relatives in Potamia. My wife, in addition, her grandparents came from Greece as well.
I would like to talk a little bit about the crisis over there and how does this affect you, not only as a Greek person, but as a...
From every perspective, it's tragic what's happening. The government in Greece has never really and it doesn't matter which party, I don't think it's ever really entered the modern era in a true sense, and I'm not sure why that's been the case. Not that frankly our government here in the United States is terrific either, but I think the euro was a great scheme and a great idea, and for a long time Greece was the beneficiary of a lot of programs that came out of the eurozone. Unfortunately, I think at this juncture, the flow of money has stopped, and the government has operated based on borrowing that it couldn't afford to repay. Not very different from Spain and Portugal and Ireland and Italy and, frankly, even the United States. And so I don't think it's really particularly fair for the world to look at Greece as being unique in this regard. I think that they are perhaps the first country to have these issues.
As you said, there are so many other countries that are in debt, and they almost are in an as bad economic situation as Greece is. Why did the world start with Greece? Why does everybody going after Greece at this point right now?
In Greece, there was a large principal payment that came due on the sovereign debt at this particular point in time, which is a particularly bad point in time. So it was bad luck. I mean, it was, you know, this is the time when there's a large payment due. Greece couldn't pay it. They had to turn to the Eurozone. That got people focused. I don't think it was...
Was it planned or anything?
It was not. It was not. I mean, look, Greeks love to think there's some grand scheme.
Conspiracies.
No, there's no conspiracy. It just happened.
Do you think that the scenario of going back to drachma is the worst case?
I think that that's a very, you know what it is? It's the uncertainty. Nobody really knows what will happen. But if one day we wake up and Europe does not provide the funds necessary to pay the debt holders and to pay the public servants in Greece, the only way to pay them the next morning will be in drachmas. There'll be rampant inflation, the currency will be devalued tremendously, and there's no country in the world or no entity in the world that will buy Greek debt and want to get paid back in drachmas, so they won't be able to borrow money. It's an Armageddon situation, truthfully, from an economic point of view, in the short term. In the longer term, of course, the hope would be that we now have a currency that is tied to the political system. I could certainly make the argument that Greece should never have entered the Eurozone. It might have been better off without it. But now that, as they say in Greece, an pasto choro πρέπει να χορέψεις. And so here we are. And, to leave at this point, I think, to leave under precipitous circumstances is very dangerous.
This is the argument of the Greek leftists, that if Greece leaves the euro, there will be less austerity for people.
Well, the Greeks that live in the country will be paid in drachmas. Mm-hmm. Those drachmas will not be accepted in any jurisdiction other than Greece as being worth anything. And so austerity is a relative term. If I pay you 1,000,000 drachmas a day, that sounds good. But if you can't buy anything with that 1,000,000 drachmas, it's not so good. And so what happens is that Greece will be essentially stuck with only being able to afford to acquire Greek goods. So what does Greece produce? It has very limited production. Sure, you can buy feta cheese and olives and wine locally produced, perhaps, but only from people that couldn't possibly export it for euros. And so I think the concept of austerity has to be judged in the context of the value of the currency that's being paid. Certainly, it has not been thought through at all in terms of what would happen going to a drachma. The modern era is quite different than the old times, if you will, when my grandparents came over. And the biggest difference is people in Greece have lived a Western lifestyle now for a generation or two. And you're no longer asking people to continue to live the way they have lived. Now you're asking them to go back to live the way their grandparents lived, which might not have been bad for their grandparents, but for the young people today, it's unspeakable. People are not going to go back to the villages and farm and live off the land. It's just going to, and that's essentially the only result that is left with a left-wing government.
Do you think that there is any hope for investment in Greece in the future?
Oh, I do. I do. But I think political stability is going to be required before you can get to that point. It's, these are the times when great fortunes are made. I mean, if someone had confidence at all that there would, and I think there probably will be a solution. Greeks are not dumb people. Greeks are smart people. And my sense is that they'll work it out. So I do believe there's enormous opportunity in Greece. But it's like Spain today and Portugal, for example, and Ireland a little while ago. When asset values have depreciated, and frankly, even the United States. I mean, the reason our bank has been able to grow so rapidly is we had a tremendous decline in values right here in the United States of America. So I think in Greece, there'll be this very painful period. What I hope that we can avoid in Greece is political unrest and violence and totalitarian rule by left or right, because neither is any good. We need to maintain democracy. We need to maintain freedom. We need to maintain hope. And I think it would be certainly better for the Greek people if they could figure out a way to stay in the European community and stay with the euro. It'll be far less disruptive, and I think it will give us all greater hope to be able to make investments in Greece.